who the hell asked for AI, really, when it gets down to it? Like, why is that suddenly everywhere, in everything, when nobody wanted this? Like, it doesn't make sense, does it? And people can sense it doesn't make sense. And they just don't quite have enough context to understand why it doesn't make sense. So they're angry, they're confused, and they're making YouTube videos pointing out the glaringly obvious corruption in the room, and the satanic pedophile elite that's suddenly basically telling everybody, yeah, we're satanic pedophiles. Nobody's doing anything, nobody's reacting, and the main reaction is like confusion, like, really? No, this can't be the case. And so people lock into the programming in spite of the glaringly obvious horror that's going on and the intentional agendas at play making this horror come upon us all. And they try and rationalize it, so they make these YouTube videos talking as though incompetence got us here, or a particular group of, who are probably also victims, did this to us because they voted for the wrong thing or made the wrong decisions or something, and it's their fault that we're in this mess, and everyone's fighting each other or looking for like a human answer, looking for a thing that makes sense, that doesn't imply that we are completely under the thumb of a satanic regime and people who hate us and want to kill us. They would rather think it's due to incompetence or something. And that last video was about that. It was about me basically saying I can't just pretend like a lot of these other channels do out there who are like in the media and the newscasting world, that this is because people have bad ideas or are just beholden to their party lines or something in governments, or are ideologically possessed with bad philosophies or ways of doing governance or something like this. I can't pretend that that's why everything's falling apart. It's actually because there are real people out there who hate us and want to kill us and have a long plan to establish a dictatorial regime where we are on the bottom and they are on the top. And by the way, they worship Lucifer, and that's not hyperbole. That's the truth. But obviously I can't just pretend that that's not the truth and go along with all this nonsense as though we're going to vote our way out of this somehow. But there are a lot of videos out there, people kind of lost for words or unable to take that step to admit that it's because evil people are doing evil things intentionally. They need it to be due to incompetence. And in many ways, it's because it is incompetence as well. They're quite clever. I think it's planned incompetence. It's willful incompetence. The regime they're creating is being done by putting people into positions of power who are running things into the ground. Maybe they know they're running things into the ground intentionally, or they're useful idiots who've been put there because the people knew who are in control, this idiot will destroy everything, and that's what we want. It's a bit of this and a bit of that. But there's a puppet master, there's an orchestrator behind the scenes. This is what understanding conspiracy is about. There's a conspiracy afoot, and you need to learn about it and get to grips with it so you don't get absolutely railroaded by it, which is what's happening for most people. So they make the videos saying, I just can't do this anymore, or why Gen Z are checking out, or why millennials are no longer taking part, or why people are choosing not to work anymore, it's just not worth it, and all this type of thing. And protect your own peace and all this sort of stuff, which in a way, yeah, kind of, I get that. Logically speaking, good idea. Practically speaking, you're cutting yourself off at the feet. You are, or at the wrists, you are making yourself in a position where you're going to be solely dependent on the system in the future and reliant on the system to fund you and look after you and care for you in some way. And it's that dependency that they're aiming for, and they want self-sufficiency out the window. So in a way, it's kind of, why work a job that's paying you minimum wage that barely covers the rent when you could just go onto the system's benefit systems and get them to pay everything for you instead?